So now that video is out about the franchise spotlight, hopefully you guys watched it. Now we're going to rank them. Obviously, there's only 3 movies, so this should be kind of quick. If not, it's not the end of the world.
I like to make things complicated and long, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But famously, we do give 2 different types of ranking systems. Dalton does give grades, A through F, A being obviously the best, F being the worst.
And yes, we do a plus-minus scale here. I don't settle for that easy shit.
Of course not. Like you said, complicated.
Yes.
And then I give stars, 1 star being the lowest, 5 stars being the best. But go ahead and kick us off with Back to the Future Part 1.
I think, are we going to rank best to worst or worst to best?
Oh, yeah, let's do worst to best.
Worst to best, okay. This is hard for me. Because
Okay.
I think, I'll give you spoilers, I think 1 is the best, and it's better than 2 and 3.
Okay.
Miles better. Not miles. It's much better. That's how I'll describe it.
That was a roundabout way.
That was just a whole roller coaster of me trying to not shit on the sequels while also trying to emphasize how good the first one is. It's a difficult thing to do. Here's where I'm torn. I think Back to the Future 3, overall as a movie, I think all 3 acts of Back to the Future 3 are better than the first 2 acts of Back to the Future 2. But I think the third act of Back to the Future 2 is better than all 3 acts of Back to the Future 3.
Okay.
So it's hard to sort of decide, but I think I've settled on worst to best, Part 2, Part 3, the original. I only give Part 3 the edge because it's more consistent, and I think the consistency is what just beat out over Back to the Future 2. Although I think that the third act of Back to the Future 2 is better than the entirety of Back to the Future 3. But the first 2 acts are messy, fun, albeit, but messy, and just overall as a movie doesn't quite hold as tight as Part 3. But I think Part 1 is way ahead.
Yeah.
So I'd rank them worst to best, 2, 3, 1.
Okay, and then what would be your corresponding grades with those?
Yes, I'm going to give, ironically, while I put 3 and 2 above one another, I'm going to give them both the same grade. I'm going to give them both A minuses, and then Back to the Future 1 an A plus, because, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree
A
with that.
minuses for different reasons.
Right.
But just eventually, like when you watch Back to the Future 2 before the third act, you're like, the third act is so good that when I was rewatching it, I was like, around the second act, I was like, this is like a B minus movie. And then it jumped up a whole letter grade. Like not just like a plus or minus, like a whole letter grade. Whereas Back to the Future 3 started out as an A plus and then it slowly became an A minus. But they're the same grade. And I think 3, just because of its consistency, does rank a little bit higher than 2. But yes. And then Back to the Future 1 is an A plus because it's perfect, and
Nothing wrong with it.
That's all you need to know. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, I would agree with the order. Worst to best is 2, 3, 1. I definitely, I don't have as many negatives with the second movie as you do, but I think the third movie is just a lot more fun. Completely changing the aesthetic, the production design, because the second movie, while yes, it does go into the future, it is only in the future for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
So you don't really get to spend a lot of time in that time, but then you go back to 85 and 55 where we've already been before. But the third movie, you go to 1885, a movie we've never been close to that timeline before. And it feels really refreshing upon rewatch. So like you, 2, 3, 1. I think 1. I don't really, can't think of any negatives about it. It's airtight, like you said. That movie definitely takes itself more seriously than the other 2 movies do, and I think that's what puts it ahead. But I also don't know if they were planning a trilogy at that moment in time.
I don't think the first one they did, but for 2. They
Absolutely.
had a trailer for 3 at the end of 2, so of course they planned 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And ironically, I disagree with you a little bit. I think Back to the Future 2 is more fun than Back to the Future 3, but I think Back to the Future 3 is just done better. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, agree to disagree because,
even though it's the same ranking, it's just, it's semantics.
It's
semantics.
ranked for different reasons, and you disagree with the reasons that they're ranked differently.
Yes, and go ahead and give me your star ratings on each one.
Yeah, so I would say Back to the Future Part 2 has 4 stars for me. Back to the Future Part 3 has 4.5, and then Back to the Future, the original, has 5 stars.
Bitchin'. I like that.
Yeah. So mine have completely different grades.
Sorry, I'll just go fuck myself over here. No, but yeah, that's going to do it for our ranking of the Back to the Future franchise. How do you guys rank them? Please let us know below in the comments. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to us on YouTube. And Ryan, I think that's all that we have for him.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. We're not quite sure what the next franchise spotlight is going to be, but obviously you guys will know before we know.
Probably. Yes, so thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.